For 7,300 consecutive Tuesdays, a crate appeared on Elias Thorne's doorstep. Always before sunrise, always sealed in black wax, always without a sound. And inside, always the same thing. A single hand-carved gear. Not metal, not wood, not bone. Something in between. Elias had been a clockmaker once, the best in 3 counties, some said. He could hear a broken watch from across a room and know which tooth had worn down. He could repair a grandfather clock blindfolded. He understood time better than most men understood language. But 20 years ago, he closed his shop. No explanation, no farewell. He simply locked the front door, painted over the sign, and stopped taking visitors. People said grief had done it. His wife, Mara, had died that winter. Others whispered that Elias had gone mad, that he spoke to the clocks in his house and waited for them to answer. But the truth began on a Tuesday. The first crate was small enough to fit under one arm. Elias found it on the doorstep at dawn, resting neatly on the worn stone step, as if it had always belonged there. There was no label, no address, no postage stamp. Just a wax seal pressed into the shape of an eye, surrounded by 12 tiny marks. Elias almost threw it away. Then he opened it. Inside, wrapped in gray cloth, was a gear. It was beautiful, too beautiful. Every tooth was cut with impossible precision. The surface carried markings finer than hair, spiraling inward like language written by something that did not use words. Elias knew machines. This gear belonged to nothing he understood. And yet, when he held it, every clock in his house stopped. Not slowed, not wound down, stopped. At exactly 6:07 in the morning. That was the time Mara had died. Elias did not sleep that night. The next Tuesday, another crate arrived, then another and another. After the 6th Tuesday, Elias stopped reporting it. After the 23rd, he stopped leaving the house. After the 100th, he began building. He did not know what he was building. That was the part he never admitted aloud. The gears seemed to know where they belonged. Each one fit into the growing frame in his cellar with a soft, certain click, as if the machine had existed long before Elias began assembling it. Years passed. The machine grew. It filled one wall, then 2, then the entire cellar. Gears turned against gears that should not have touched. Long arms swung in slow arcs. Hollow chambers breathed cold air. Pendulums moved without weight. There were no springs, no motor, no source of power. Still, the machine waited. Every Tuesday, Elias added one more piece. Every Tuesday, it became less like a clock and more like a question. By the 20th year, Elias was an old man. His hands trembled now. His eyesight had dimmed. The town had mostly forgotten him, except as a strange house at the end of a narrow road where children dared each other to knock. No one saw the crates arrive. No one saw the old man carry them in. No one saw the machine beneath the floorboards. Then came the final Tuesday. Elias knew before he opened the door. The house was silent in a way it had never been silent before. Not peaceful, expectant. Every clock in the house had stopped again. 6:07. On the doorstep sat the crate. But this one was different. It was larger, heavier. The wax seal was not black. It was red. Elias carried it inside with both arms shaking. He set it on the kitchen table and stared at it for a long time. 20 years, 7,300 Tuesdays, a life spent assembling something sent by someone who had never spoken. He broke the seal. Inside was not a gear, it was a key. Long, narrow, and carved from the same impossible material. Alongside it lay a folded piece of paper. Elias had never received a note before. His mouth went dry as he opened it. There were only 6 words written inside. Wind it once, then stand back. For the first time in 20 years, Elias laughed. It was a dry, frightened sound. He took the key to the cellar. The machine seemed larger than he remembered, though that was impossible. Its gears rose into the shadows like the ribs of some sleeping animal. The air smelled of dust, wax, and winter. At the center of the machine was a keyhole. It had not been there the day before. Elias inserted the key. It fit perfectly. For a moment he could not turn it, not because it was stuck, because some part of him understood that the world before the turn and the world after it would not be the same. Then he thought of Mara, of her final breath, of every clock stopping at 6:07, of 20 years spent alone with the sound of unfinished time. He turned the key. Once. The machine woke. Not with noise, but with absence. The cellar swallowed every sound. Elias could see the gears moving, thousands of them, turning in patterns too complex for the eye to follow. Dust lifted from the floor and hung motionless in the air. His breath froze before him. Then the machine struck once. A deep, impossible note. The walls disappeared. Elias was no longer in the cellar. He stood in his old clock shop. Sunlight spilled through the front window. Watches ticked softly in glass cases. The sign outside still read, Elias Thorne, Clockmaker. And behind the counter stood Mara, alive, younger, smiling. Elias could not move. Mara, he whispered. She looked up. Her smile faded. Elias, she said, what have you done? He stumbled toward her, but she stepped back. That hurt him more than he expected. I built it, he said. I built the machine. Mara's face changed, not into fear, into recognition, as if she had been waiting for this mistake. No, she said softly. You received it. The shop darkened. The ticking of the clocks grew louder. Elias looked around and saw that every clock displayed the same time. 6:06. 1 minute before she died. His heart hammered. "I can stop it," he said. "That is what this is, isn't it? I can save you." Mara's eyes filled with sadness. "You already tried." The words struck him like a blow. The shop shifted. For one terrible second, Elias saw other versions of himself. Not reflections, lives. A younger Elias opening the first crate. An older Elias burning the gears. A broken Elias using the machine too early. A desperate Elias refusing the final key. Hundreds of him. Thousands. Each standing at the same edge. Each believing he was the first. Mara stepped closer. "The machine does not bring back the dead," she said. "It gives grief something to build." Elias shook his head. No, I waited 20 years. "Yes," Mara said, "every time." The clock behind her clicked. 6:07. Elias reached for her. The room folded inward. He was back in the cellar. The machine was still moving. At its center, where the key had been, a small compartment opened. Inside lay a single object. A gear. The first gear. The one he had received 20 years ago. Beside it was a fresh piece of paper. Elias unfolded it with shaking hands. The message was written in his own handwriting. For the next Elias. Begin on Tuesday. Upstairs, something knocked softly against the front door. Elias climbed the stairs slowly. His house was not his house anymore. The wallpaper looked newer. The floorboards no longer creaked in the same places. The photographs were gone. He opened the door. A young man stood on the step. He could not have been more than 40. His face was pale. His eyes were red from crying. Elias knew him instantly. It was himself, 20 years younger. The younger Elias stared at the old man in confusion. "Who are you?" he asked. The old Elias looked past him. On the doorstep sat a small crate, sealed in black wax. Dawn was breaking. It was Tuesday, and somewhere deep beneath the house, the machine began counting again. Like the video and subscribe to Benny Tot for more mystery stories every week.